Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa Cantley. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the C-Suite Mentor podcast. I am your host, Theresa Cantley, and I am super excited that you're here joining me again. I wanted to give you, I always say this is going to be a different episode, yada, yada. This is really going to be a different episode. I think long ago, I did an episode very similar to this. And if I did record it and maybe I just got too scared and didn't put it out there, but I wanted to record this. I was actually just recording videos because I'm in this certification with a mentor of mine, Bo Eason, and for my certification, I had to record these videos. So I'm like all warmed up, like telling my story and speaking and doing all the things. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to jump in here and create this podcast. And it's a podcast based on, I was having a conversation with my team, and somehow we got into the topic of some of the crazy advice that I have gotten from business coaches over the years, whether it was in corporate or when we had worked with consultants and stuff, or when I left corporate and I started my business and I was working with business coaches. I have had some really crazy advice, and I was telling them some of the stories, and they were like, "Theresa, you have to do a podcast episode on this." So I figured if I gave you everything that was some crazy advice, I would be here for several hours. So I picked the top, actually 13 things that was kind of crazy. But it's funny because as I was writing out kind of my notes for this podcast episode, I started to think to myself, some of the salespeople that I deal with on a regular basis, some of the business owners that I coach on a regular basis, it's so funny because they have these beliefs that we end up having to kind of reprogram and redefine and get rid of. And, or even some of the sales reps, when they say these things to me, when they come out with these phrases and they believe these things, it's like, no wonder you're struggling. No wonder you're burned out. No wonder you're stressed out. No wonder you want to quit. So I wanted to share them with you because if you are a business owner, and I know, I've talked to, over the years, I've talked to so many different business owners who own local businesses, who own larger businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, people who are leaders in businesses. And I hear a lot of stories about some of the crazy advice that they've received from consultants in big firms, really well-known firms. And a lot of it is just so outdated and it's wrong. And it's just, it steers people in a bad direction. And it's why, being a business coach and consultant myself, I get a lot of people who don't like business coaches and consultants. And they think that there's, a lot of them are either full of it or a lot of them don't know what they're talking about or, and they don't want to work with them. So I want to kind of break down the myths here, or just kind of give you what my own experience has been. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because of these experiences that I've been through. I have not shaped who I am as a leader, who I am as a coach, who I am as a consultant. It's been more from the experiences and the challenges and the obstacles that I have been through, that I've had to get through and overcome, that have really shaped who I am, versus like the good stuff. The good stuff has shaped me too, the wins and the things that I've learned. But I think what's shaped it even more is going through the experiences that I've been through, getting through the obstacles and the setbacks and the struggles and getting to the other side of it, learning from it, and then saying, "Okay, you know what? I don't wanna do that, and I don't wanna be like that. I'm gonna do things different." And when you read my book, my upcoming book that's gonna be coming out next year, I'm actually, like, half chapters, and I'm done. I'm at 65,000 words right now. It's a pretty big thing. So I'm almost done. I'm planning on getting it done this week at the time of this recording. But, as it relates to the book, I talk about a lot of the challenges and the obstacles that I've been through, and I know they're not any different than what other people have been through. But they're my experiences, and what emerged from these experiences that I went through in working with some of these business coaches over the years and business consultants, what what emerged from it are gifts that I didn't even realize I had. And I think your gifts, some of them we know, some of them are skills that we didn't even realize we had. Some of them are personality traits that we didn't realize we had, or just, how whatever it is, those internal skills, those people skills that, again, what ends up bringing them out and what cracks you open is going through those challenges and those hurdles and those obstacles. So, like I said, I was just recording this video and I was talking about this for my certification. So I am like fired up for this. So let's get started. So, number one, I was told by a business mentor early on, it was like my first business mentor when I first left corporate. So this was back in 2014, very, very long time ago. And this business coach said to me, "If you truly care about serving people, you won't charge them. You'll do it for free always." And back in the day, I kept thinking, "Oh, yeah." And she talked to me about karma and, all kinds of things. And I just kept saying to my husband, "Well, I can't charge for my services because I'm going to mess up karma." And if you think about it, when you start your business, and I see this with business owners that I work with and their teams, and they just want to discount the crap out of everything, and they want to offer discounts all over the place, or they just want to constantly give stuff away for free. And then they wonder why they're not profitable, or they wonder why they're losing money. And the truth is that what you have and who you are and the service that you provide and the experience that you create for your customers is valuable. And that reciprocity of delivering a unique, amazing experience that takes care of people, that serves people, that helps people, on the other side of it is the value that you charge is your price. So when we devalue that, we put it out there, or when we say, and again, you can leave it up to yourself whether or not, because I often, if somebody really needs help and they can't afford my service, I will make that decision whether or not I can help them. It's a boundary that you have to learn to set, but it is something that reciprocity, that exchange of energy is what helps both parties to rise. And I truly, truly, truly believe that. But also, again, you can make the decision. If you're not charging anyone for your services, how are you going to make money and support yourself? How are you going to give back to your community? How are you going to tithe to your church, or wherever you belong? Or how are you going to take care of your family? So we have to look at it and say, your first main thing, and this is how I look at it as a business coach, your first and main thing is that you show up and you serve. And you serve your customers in the deepest way and creating that unique experience. And again, there's a value on the other side of it. But should you choose that you want to help out and you want to serve at an even higher level, that is up to you. That is completely up to you. But not charging for your services ever sends a message out there that what you provide does not have value, and what you provide is not worth it. So if you think about it in your business, I don't care what business you are, look at that experience that you're creating and that service you're providing and how you're helping. What solution are you providing for your customers? And look at that and say, how can we provide this amazing experience and this amazing solution that we know is going to help people, and make sure that we are aligning what we're charging for it. We're aligning that to what we're providing. The last thing that you want to do, because I've also had people say this on the flip side of it, you need to charge tens of thousands of dollars for your service per month, tens of thousands. And I know some people do charge that, and there's nothing wrong with it. But just charging it, but not giving people a result, not getting people to the other side of something, not providing a solution, not providing something that is going to help them, that's where there's a problem. I mean, I have a mentor who charges $1 million a year to work with him. And you know what? If I had $1 million, I would pay it, because he is amazing. And what he does to change people's lives is amazing. But I've also had people that I've worked with that I've spent $10,000 a month to work with them and have gotten nothing. And in fact, it was a complete scam. So you want to make sure that you are first and foremost saying, how can I transform someone's life? What transformation am I creating? And then aligning what you're charging. And I don't care if you're a retail store, a restaurant, you have a service-based business, whatever it is, you want to make sure that the two are in alignment with each other. All right? Under promise, over deliver. I want you to remember that. Under promise, over deliver. That's how we bring customers back time and time again. And it doesn't matter if you're a brick and mortar business or you're an online business or whatever. Under promise, over deliver. All right. Number 2, someone told me one time that build from the inside out is weird. That's fine. You might think it's weird. Somebody listening to this who doesn't follow me and doesn't really know who I am, they might think it's weird. They might think that build from the inside out doesn't make sense. But you know what? That's okay. The problem is that I believe this person years and years and years ago, like 10, 12 years ago. I believed them when they told me it was weird. Don't use it. You shouldn't use that. Instead of trusting myself is what it comes down to, because only I know what's right for me, right? And business coaches and consultants can give you information, can give you advice, can give you suggestions, but only you know what's right, right? So the truth is that build from the inside out, if I would have gone with my gut, because that's exactly what I do. When people ask me, what do you do? I fix businesses. Well, what does that look like? Well, I fix businesses, and we start from the inside. We don't start from the outside. Most people come to me and they want to improve their marketing. They think they need more marketing and they need more sales, or we just need to add more coupons. And they always want to start with the outside, and they forget about the inside. And the inside is what's most important, because that's where a lot of the problems are, whether it be your processes, your operations, your people, having the wrong people in the wrong roles, and not understanding your numbers, not looking at your numbers and measuring things. So the problem with that, you can think it's weird. And if you think it's weird, hey, that's up to you. To each his own, right? The problem is that I listen to that person. And the truth is that if you're working with a business coach or a consultant or, whatever, if they tell you that what you're doing is wrong, you have to be able to weigh whether or not it aligns, or whether or not your gut says, and a good consultant, a good coach, even if they think that what you're doing is wrong and there's a better way to do it, they're going to ask you lots of questions. They're going to ask you good questions. They're going to ask you good questions. In a consultant role, they're going to explain why you need to do it differently. Okay. But in a coaching role, they're going to ask you a lot of really good questions, if they're good, so that you can come to the solution yourself, so that you can come to that answer yourself. You can look at it and say, you know what, maybe we can do things better. Right. So that's the whole build from the inside out. It has to start with you. But you also know ultimately deep down what's right and what's not. So if you believe in something all in, don't abandon it, right? Again, if you work with a consultant or a coach, this is something that I do. I help people to uncover things for themselves. There are some things where I will say, this is what you need to do. Like, you need to look at your profit and loss statement on a regular basis, and you need to understand what's on there. And here's why. So I always follow it up with the why. But when I'm coaching someone and we're working through maybe like why an offer isn't right, or why someone might not be good for a role, I'm not telling them what they need to do. I'm helping them to uncover that for themselves. Number 3, someone actually told me this: don't trust people. Enough said about that. Like, I think I did a whole podcast episode on how that is like such the wrong thing to say. But this consultant was saying to me, you can't trust anybody. And I'm like, okay, well then why am I working with you? Like, but it was, you can't trust anybody because everybody's always out for themselves. Everybody's always going to be selling you something. And the truth of the matter is there's a lot of people out there that are kind of slimy and scammy and, will do that. But that doesn't mean that everybody is like that. So you have to trust yourself. Trust yourself first, that you're going to find and align with the right people and align with the right coach, because there are, and I've been exposed to a lot of them, that are selling lots of stuff, shiny objects, and are really good marketers. My mentor told me this a long time ago. There's a lot of really good marketers out there, but what's behind everything is very empty. He calls them the great imposters. And there's a lot of people out there that way. So it's not a matter of not trusting people. It's a matter of first trusting yourself, believing in yourself that you can make the right decision, and asking a lot of questions, kind of sifting through and asking yourself, do I really need this? Or does this advice make sense to me? Or do I really need to buy this product? Or is there a better way? And asking yourself so that you can come up with some of those answers yourself. When we stop trusting people, we stop connecting with people. When we stop trusting ourselves, we stop believing in ourselves. Our self-esteem goes out the window. Our self-confidence goes out the window. Our confidence in our ability to lead goes out the window. So the moment we stop trusting others, we stop trusting ourselves. And we don't want to do that. So that was number 3. Number 4, always negotiate your price. Again, this is something where, and this goes along with another one, which is that you kind of need to cookie cutter things. So negotiating your price, again, you want to, and I've said this to people who I've worked with who are in the service-based industry, where they charge a different price for everybody. Okay, everybody's got a different price. And at one time, guess what? I did this. And when I had someone who said to me, negotiate your price. If your price standardly is $40,000 and somebody says, oh, I can't afford that, you can always negotiate it. And then what ended up happening is I had different prices for different things. So the same offer, I had all these different prices going on. And it was just, it was crazy because I couldn't even keep track of it. And then I had this person at this price and this person at this price. And then as I was negotiating price, guess what else I was negotiating? What I was going to do for them. And that led to dealing with a lot of high maintenance people at low value. And that led to a lot of burnout, and it led to doing work that I didn't want to do. So here's the thing. You set your prices. In the retail world, you set your prices, and you can always discount down. You can always add like a special coupon for VIP customers, or you can do something like some kind of a promotion if you want. So you can always kind of work with that, depending if you want to do a special where you want to reward people. But you don't want to be negotiating every single time you're dealing with somebody. You want to make sure that you have that standardization. And here's why. A confused mind never buys. So if you're always negotiating and you're always going back and forth with, and you don't have a standard package, or you don't have something of standard, could you imagine if somebody walked into a restaurant and saying, okay, your burger's $14 on your menu, and you had one person coming in and trying to negotiate it down to 10, or somebody negotiating it to 8, and you were charging all these different prices for a burger? That's nuts, right? It's crazy. You can have standard discounts where you have happy hour or you have customer appreciation day or whatever. That's more like standardizing those times when you're discounting or standardizing what you're doing. All right? Because the more clarity people have, the less they have to think about making a purchase, the quicker they're going to buy, the more often they're going to buy, right? Don't tell your story it's pathetic. Yes, I actually had a coach tell me this. Don't tell your story it's pathetic. Lead with your credentials. Lead with your street cred. And I thought to myself, oh my word, because I don't have an MBA. I don't have a master's degree. I have a bachelor's. And it's just like, I don't, at the time, I do now, but at the time, I didn't have any certifications. And I just thought to myself, oh my. But what I did have was the School of Hard Knocks and the School of Experience, of lots of experience. And I remember Tony Robbins actually talking about he has a PhD in experience, in real life experience. And I thought to myself, wow, telling my story, it's not pathetic. Your story is actually the thing that will connect you to other people, not your credentials, not like putting all this fluff and stuff out there. It's more your story. It's about your story. And I remember working with a client of mine, and when I first started working with him and we were getting super clear on his vision, and I said, you really need to talk about your story. And he said, well, talking about my story is boasting. I can't do that. And I was like, no, it's not boasting. It's telling your story. People want to understand who the person is behind the business, because when they do, remember clarity. They get clarity. They get to know you as a person. They're going to be able to connect with you because maybe something in your story is going to resonate with something with them. And maybe something in your story is going to help your customer with something. It's going to help to connect you. And when they can connect you as a person, it sifts through all the other like junk that's out there that we've talked about thus far. So we want to remember that your story is what's going to connect. Your story is what's going to deepen that connection and help to really improve that experience that you're creating in your business. Whether it be stories about your dishes or stories about vendors or stories about, I mean, my whole first business, my store, we sold jewelry and accessories, artisan jewelry and accessories, but it wasn't about that. It was about the stories that we were able to tell for the artisans who couldn't do it because they were either small. I mean, we sold a lot of stuff from fair trade countries where, I mean, we were selling a whole line of jewelry from women who escaped death or escaped a lot of adversity over in Africa and got safe, and they were building these businesses. I think Kiva is one that ends up funding a lot of these small micro businesses to help, help these women or help other people out there that are looking to make money in third world countries. So the bottom line is that your story isn't pathetic. My story wasn't pathetic. And for the longest time, I believed that lie, that it was pathetic. And I didn't talk about my story. I just kept leading with all of this superficial stuff, like skills that I had or things that I did. And it was just like, this is crazy. So your story isn't pathetic. It's real. And it's what's going to connect. You have to work 7 days a week. Someone said that to me when I was still in corporate, and a consultant, when I was looking to start my consulting business, I was talking to another consultant and they said, you will work 7 days a week. You will work harder than you can ever imagine. And you need to work 7 days a week because some of your customers are going to need you on the weekends. And that led to a lot of burnout. And the truth is I see a lot of sales reps. I see in the restaurant that I run, I had a conversation with one of the food reps, and he works 7 days a week, and he has no boundaries with his customer. And his philosophy is one of my customers is always going to need me. They're going to need something. So I need to be available at all times. Hasn't taken a vacation. He'll be at dinner with his girlfriend, and he takes calls during dinner. And this would be wife number 3. And while he loves what he does, he also admitted that he's burned out. He's burned out. So we want to have boundaries set up. We want to make sure that we're creating that life harmony. That one thing, because it's like the yin and the yang. When one thing takes over, something else suffers. When we say yes to one thing, we say no to other things. And the things that we're saying no to are the things most likely that are super important to us because we're putting we're putting importance on things that necessarily aren't important. Because here's the thing, I heard this a long time ago too. We teach people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us. So if we teach people that we don't have boundaries, and this is a thing that I have worked on my entire life. We need to put boundaries up because people, when we don't have those boundaries up and it's like a free for all, people will continue to take subconsciously or consciously. They will continue to pull at us. They will continue to, and it starts to feel like you're being taken advantage of. So if you're a people pleaser, this is going to be a huge thing that you need to do is to really get clear on what's important, really get clear on what those boundaries are, what your hours are going to be. Even with and this kind of goes along with this is I have a client and he had a philosophy and he's learned time and time again recently and finally said, can't do this anymore. But he would say, nope, we need to do anything and everything for our customers. We need to take stuff back that's not ours. We need to do this. We need to be out open at all hours and just be there because that was his definition of serving. And the truth is that was just taking advantage, like people taking advantage of him. And he couldn't figure out why there was so much frustration with staff and why in certain areas they weren't profitable and why like vendors were getting frustrated. It's because he was saying yes to absolutely everything and saying no to what was most important, his vision, right? So you don't need to work 7 days a week. And in fact, we want to put boundaries on because that's what leads to burnout. And that's what leads to, because at the end of the day, none of us, we don't know how much time we have on this planet. So if we are constantly in perpetual motion, we're going to miss out on all of those amazing things. And when they're gone, they're gone. When people are gone, they're gone. And it's their humanity that we miss the most when they're gone. So why not spend time enjoying life now? Let's see here. I need to stop working one-to-one because that's not bad and that's not going to be good for your business. Truth is, and going along with this was never work with local businesses because they are stubborn and don't really want help. Here's the truth that I've learned about working one-on-one with people is I can really give a lot of focus and attention to what people need. Do I like working one-to-many? Absolutely. Doing high-level workshops, doing half-day workshops, full-day workshops, working with teams, working with groups. And yeah, I can get a lot accomplished. Do I like having programs of hundreds of people? No, that's not me. Because at the end of the day, the thing that I care most about is the connection. The thing that I care most about, I love people. I love hearing people's stories, which is why I love working with local businesses so much because the stories that they have are just incredible. Not to say that other business owners and leaders don't have incredible stories because they do. But when you start a local business, like there is a huge dream there. There's a huge dream. And most of the people that I've worked with have come out of corporate and kind of just went all in on these businesses. But working with them one-on-one, I can hear their stories. I can hear their connection, and that fascinates me. But what it also is being able to work with people one-on-one is I get to really learn a lot of stuff. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of articles. I do a lot of programs and really absorb stuff about the human experience and how I can make the human experience better. But nothing, absolutely nothing beats having a one-on-one conversation with people. That by far is always the best. Always, hands down. So when someone said to me, and I spent a lot of years, again, listening to what people were telling me instead of really saying, okay, what is most important to me? But I spent a lot of years trying to get out of doing one-on-one work and building programs and building courses. And guess what? I was flippin' miserable. I was miserable because I did like working one-on-one. I like delivering talks to people. I like, talking in front of groups. And again, working with small groups. But I really enjoy that one-to-one connection and really understanding exactly how I can help someone because each person is different. Each person is unique, and I don't ever wanna miss that. So, yes, I love working with local businesses. Are they frustrating at times? Yeah. Does it take a different type of business owner to own a local business? Absolutely, but they have great stories, and they're people, and they do need help. So, yeah, do I find people that are frustrating? Sure. Do I find leaders in corporate America that are frustrating? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean they're great business owners. They're great businesses. So, but again, what the message was in that is that I listen instead of I believe the lie. So I kept doing things that weren't really in alignment with what I wanted to do instead of really going with what was in alignment and what I really cared about so I could help people, regardless of how fast it scaled, which over the years, we've completely revamped stuff. So I do workshops, small workshops with people and teams, half-day workshops and full-day workshops. And I work primarily, if I can get my words out, primarily one-to-one with business owners and their teams at times. So definitely, definitely stay in alignment with what feels right to you. And the last one, and this is a big one, you can't compete with the big guys that are out there in your niche. You can't compete with them. Actually, I have one more. You can't compete with them. I remember one of my first programs that I wanted to do. I wanted to build a it was in the personal development realm. And I remember working with this business coach who I hired online and I was just so enamored and I thought, "Oh, this is going to be great." And I remember her telling me you can't compete. I don't know why you're even trying to launch this program. You can't compete with the big guys that are out there, like the Brendan Burchards, like the Tony Robbins, the people back then, and this was in 2013, 2012 and 2013. You can't compete with them, so why try? You should just go do something else. Do something with business growth, which is what I ended up pivoting to, and now and over the years, we've been kind of shifting that and getting back into some of the personal development because personal development and business goes together. Can't have one and not the other. People think so, but not really. But really that business growth and dealing with numbers and all of that more structural things, that wasn't what really lit my soul up. I wanted to help people to find their greatness and pull it out, to lead teams, to build their teams, to really understand the inner workings of their business and understand, why it worked the way that it did and why it worked great and why you were different and really figuring out what made them different. And the truth is that you don't really compete with anybody because there is only one you. And going along with this is that people kept saying, "What makes you unique?" And I'm like, "Well, I do. I make me unique." And they're like, "No, that's not it. You need to have some kind of a unique process or you need to have some kind of a unique tool. Make up a name for what you do." So I spent forever trying to figure out what made me unique and thinking, "Oh my gosh, I need to say something uniquely or I need to have this." And I do have a unique methodology, by the way. But I need to say something uniquely. So I would get so stressed about posting stuff because I needed to say it differently. And the truth is that we go back to one of the previous ones. What makes me unique is my own experiences, my own gifts, my own heart, my own drive, my own things that I've been through and have gotten up from. That's what makes me unique. And where is that found? In your story, in your stories, how you connect with people, how you interact with them. It's a blend of personal development and business growth. And for the longest time, I got so far away from that. And I see a lot of businesses that I work with and that I've worked with for the past decade just trying to be like everybody else. And it's not being themselves. And they can't figure out why they can't move forward, that they've plateaued and that they can't get above the revenue level or the profit level or the visibility level of where they've been forever. And it's because they're trying to be like everybody else, or they're trying to compete instead of just being themselves. Because that's the truth is, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, time and time again, is that there is no competition because there's only one you. And your business is the only business. There is nobody else like you, right? So if we approach it, if you've ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy and Blue Ocean Shift, it's everything that they talk about in there. How there really isn't competition when you learn to think about it and look at it differently. So the things that I've learned over the years, the 5 things that I think I can kind of draw from all of this, and I hope you all have as well, because it's not just about, it's about me getting bad business advice, but it's also I see a lot of this stuff repeated in people I work with, in people I've had conversations with, inside corporate and in local businesses, in sales, in marketing, I mean, you name it, in leadership. But the 5 things that I have come away with over the years that I wanna share with you, and it's part of, working with me as a coach and a consultant. It's part of working with me in the businesses that I lead, is number 1, you gotta be who you are because everybody else is taken, as the phrase says. But you're the only one, as my mentor Bo says, I forget, like 1 in 100,000 or whatever, sperm, like, and they're swimming and everything. Only one made it, and that's you, and that's why you're here. So it's so magical and a miracle that you are here. So just be who you are. Be who you are. And as a business owner with your business, be who you are. Have your business be who it is. Number 2, never negotiate your value. Whether you're serving food or you are teaching yoga or you have a trampoline park or you run a park, just a regular park, or you're a lawyer, never negotiate your value because you are valuable for who you are. You are valuable and you're creating a transformation. Think about the transformation that you're creating in someone's life, the difference that you're making in the life of other people. Focus on that and align your pricing with it. Number 3, every business is different. There is no cookie cutter. So when I work with people, there is no cookie cutter. Do I have a framework that I work in? Absolutely. But everybody is a little nuanced because everybody's a little bit different. This person might need more persuasion and helping them to work with their team. This person over here might need help with productivity. This person over here might need help with, profit and more finances, and this person over here might need a little bit more help with vision. It just depends. So if you've heard me talk about there's 4 different types of CEOs, if you've heard me talk about it, it's why I don't ever cookie cutter anything because everybody's different. So I listen for what people need the most, and then that's how we work. Number 3, your story is what sets you apart and is most important. So we want to get clear on what that story is. And again, just going back, like what makes you different is you. What makes you different is you. You know what is like deep down, you know what is right for you. If we strip away all of the labels, all of the titles, all of the external stuff, we strip it away, and what is left is you. What is left is your business at its core. We want to make sure that we align everything to what that is. So anyway, I hoped that you liked this episode. It's slightly different. And like I said, I was super fired up. And I think my voice is starting to go from talking so much. But I hope that you like this episode. And remember, there are good business coaches and consultants out there. There are people who really value people and value growth and connection and really helping people to come alive with whatever it is that you're doing and whatever your business looks like. So if you're interested in working with someone to help you do that. If you feel stuck or you feel like, oh, I've gotten a lot of really bad advice and I don't really know what next steps to take. I know that we feel stuck. I know that we've been doing things a certain way for so long and we just need something different, but I don't know what that is. Book a virtual coffee with me. I am big on virtual coffee, and it comes from Coffee Talk with Mike Myers from Saturday Night Live. So let's have coffee or tea, whichever you prefer, and let's just chat at where you're stuck. Let's chat at, where you're stuck, what needs to happen, what you need to do next. So if you go to theresacantley.com/virtual coffee, let's have a chat. Let's see if we can figure some stuff out and start to get you moving in the right direction. But until next week, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And remember, you are unique. And that greatness that you have inside needs to shine through. So have a good rest of your week. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.